Hey everyone, it's Ruth here. So, I have been getting a lot of questions about catnapping. Ruth, how can I fix catnapping? I love this topic. You know why? Because fixing catnapping is totally in your control. Absolutely. It's not something that you need to put up with, or it's not something that is out of your control. Things like teething, sickness, all that kind of stuff. You can't control that, right? So that's like a curveball that gets thrown to you. But catnapping is absolutely 100% in your control. Now, before I start, okay, if you want to take notes, a couple of things. I have done a lot of IGTVs on this, on sleep signs, awake windows. What else? Sleep budget's a really good one as well. So actually, sleep budget is like the foundational stuff. Everybody should should know about sleep budget. Okay, so if you haven't watched that or you don't know what I'm talking about, what is this budget thing? That's okay, no problems. Go and watch my IGTV. It will give you a lot of clarity as to what I'm talking about today as well. But happy for you to keep watching and then go and watch that as well. Yeah, so catnapping essentially just means, it's very simple. There's only two reasons why, okay? Well, actually three, but let me go through them in detail. If you're taking notes, number one is that your wake window is not enough. Okay, so whatever age you might be, and I talk about this as well in my wake windows video as well. I talk about this in stories. If it's the IGTV is not out yet, just wait for that. But with wake windows, okay, I don't want you to necessarily follow an age appropriate wake window. What does that mean? When you type on the internet, you say, what is the wake window for a 9-month-old? It will give you this window. Yeah. Take it as a pinch of salt, but remember this, okay, that the wake windows that are on the internet and on the books, they are only catered for babies that are an average baby. Like if there's a range, okay, they sit right in the middle. Does that make sense? Let me give you an example as an adult. As an adult, you, according to the National Sleep Foundation, you anywhere between 7 to 9 hours is normal. But the difference between 7 hours and 9 hours is 2 chunky hours, right? And so I'm a little bit like that. I tend to need more sleep. My husband's more on the lower range. So as you can tell, our daily routine looks different. We go to bed or wake up at different times just because of our sleep needs. Now, babies are like that too. So coming back to the wake windows, age-appropriate wake windows, according to the internet and the books, to a certain extent, only addresses a baby that is an average wake sleep needs, okay? But say, for example, if your baby happens to be on either range, the wake windows will look very different. So I'll do another video on this just to chat a little bit more about there's three different types of sleep needs drive or personality that exist, okay, for babies. And yeah, I'll explain more there. So coming back to the first reason, number one is that your wake window is too small. So if you have a child that's catnapping, increase the wake window a little bit, and that will help your child to have more sleep pressure. Sleep pressure just means sleep drive. It means that the more you're awake, the more tired you are. So you want to build up this pressure so that when your child goes to sleep, they come through a sleep cycle. They don't want to just wake up because they're done with sleep. They go back into another sleep cycle. Okay, so the other myth that a lot of mums think is that during the day, if my child can't self-settle, they will be catnapping. No such thing. Okay, it's a little bit of a nonsense. Daytime sleep has all got to do with sleep signs. It just means, okay, is your wake window enough, okay, to create the pressure for your child to actually link those sleep cycles during the day. I have babies that are fed to sleep, rocked to sleep. They still rock their naps like they do good chunky naps, because all we do is we make sure that the routine works in terms of they have enough of a wake window. That's only half the equation though. That's number one. So you got to see, okay, is there enough wake window? Number two, the other thing that affects that as well, so most of the time is a combination of factor one and two. Factor number two is that the sleep before this particular sleep was too big. Okay? So say for example, you're always finding that nap 2 is, you're always catnapping. All right, so sometimes it doesn't make sense to stretch the wake windows too big. You might stretch a little bit, but you can't overstretch it. Your baby has a certain amount of wake window range, I guess. Does that make sense? And so what you then do is that you look at the sleep before that, which is nap 1. Okay, so if you're struggling with nap 2, you look at nap 1 and you go, all right, well, with this amount of sleep, say for example, nap 1, you did 1.5 hours of nap 1. Okay, then you did a certain amount of wake window. I don't know, let's just say 3 hours. I'm throwing out numbers here. It's not in any particular routine. So 1.5 hours of nap 1, and then you did a 3-hour wake window. You're only getting a cat nap for nap 2. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is you either increase the wake window in between nap 1 and nap 2 a little bit, or you do that, or, sorry, I just repeated myself there. You either increase that wake window or you reduce the sleep for nap 1. So instead of 1.5 hours, you cap it to 1 hour, 15 minutes or 1 hour. It just depends, right? You got to play around with it. Obviously, in my program, I give you the exact times. You don't have to do your calculation. You just move on to the next one and next one. But in purposes for today, if you don't have a structure like that you can just easily follow, you either cap your first nap or you increase your wake window or you do a bit of both. Okay? Either way, something like that. You just got to trial it. And that will increase. The whole point of doing that is you increase your wake windows. Increase your sleep pressure. Increase your sleep pressure so that your nap 2 can be consolidated. Okay, so you might have to just play around with that. The third reason, and I see this quite often as well. So if you try that and it still hasn't worked, okay, the third reason is your night sleep is just way too much. And this goes back to my sleep budget video. Okay, so definitely watch that. So I'll give you an example. For example, if your child is only wants to clock in 14 hours of sleep, okay? But you've done 12 hours of sleep overnight. What does that come down to? You're left with 2 hours, right? 14 minus 12 is 2. So that means during the daytime, you only have enough to distribute between the naps that you have, either 2 naps or 3 naps, whatever routine you're on, only 2 hours. But say, for example, your nap 1 is already an hour and a half. Well, it's common sense and it's logical to say that, well, your nap 2 is going to be half an hour regardless of what happens. See, children cannot sleep too much. They really can't. If they sleep too much, what's going to happen is either your night sleep's going to be really choppy, they're just wanting to wake up so much because they don't have any sleep pressure, or once they sleep, they're done. Like they just cannot sleep more than that. Okay, so it comes back to your budget, right? So go and watch that budget video. It'll make perfect sense what I'm talking about here. But all in all, how do you fix catnapping? 3 things that you can do. Number 1, look at your wake windows, increase that a little bit. Number 2, for that particular nap, okay, number 2, look at the sleep before that. So if it's nap 1, look at your night sleep. Your night sleep is too big, cut that down a little bit. The third reason is that your distribution, your budget is off. You've done all your sleep at night, you're left with nothing for the daytime. So you need to cut that down a little bit so that you can distribute more sleep totals to the daytime. Okay, it's just like a budget. I'll go through that really quickly. In summary, it's like, if you have $1,000 that you can spend in a month, if you spend the first $500 in the first 2 days, you're left with $500 for the next 28 days. It's not going to be pleasant. You want to distribute that a little bit more evenly. So that's all I wanted to talk about in terms of catnapping. I hope this has helped. And obviously, you have any questions, let me know. But I hope this has been helpful for you. Okay, bye.